I'm Hutt and I'm here to teach you guys about particle motion. So we're going to do the FRQ first, and it says that an object moves along the x-axis with initial position x of 0 is equal to 2. The velocity of the object at time t is equal to or greater than 0 is given by v of t is equal to sine pi over 3t. So part A asks us to find the acceleration of the object at t equals 4. So acceleration is equal to the first derivative of the velocity, and the velocity is given to us, which is sine pi over 3t. And then we find the derivative of the velocity, which is equal to pi over 3 times cosine pi over 3t. And we plug in 4 for t because it asks us to find the acceleration at time t equals 4. So we plug that in there for t, and then we put it into the calculator and find that the acceleration at time t equals 4 is equal to negative 0.524. Alright, now that we've answered part A, we're going to move on to part B. So part B asks us to find whether these two statements given to us are correct. And statement 1 says that from 3 to 4.5, the velocity of the object is decreasing. And statement 2 says that from 3 to 4.5, the speed of the object is increasing. So to find when the velocity is decreasing, we have to look at the acceleration. And when the acceleration is less than 0, then the velocity is decreasing. So we found the acceleration in part A, and that is pi over 3 times cosine pi over 3t. And we plug that into the calculator and see that the acceleration is negative over the entire interval 3 to 4.5. So the velocity is decreasing. So statement 1 is correct. And now statement 2 says that the speed of the object is increasing over this interval. And to find when the speed is increasing, we have to look at both the velocity and acceleration at the same time. So when the velocity and acceleration are both greater than 0, then the speed is increasing. But when the velocity and acceleration are both less than 0 at the same time, then the speed is also increasing. So we're given the velocity and we have the acceleration, so we plug those into the calculator and see that those are both negative. They're both less than 0. So then the speed of the object is increasing, so both statements are correct. Alright, now we're on part C, and part C asks us to find the total distance traveled by the object from t is equal to 0 to t is equal to 4. And to find the total distance, you have to integrate the absolute value of the velocity, and the velocity is sine pi over 3t, so we plug that in, and so it's the integral from 0 to 4 of the absolute value of sine pi over 3t, and we plug that into the calculator and find that it is equal to 2.387. Alright, finally we're on part D, and it asks us to find the position of the object at t equals 4. So to find the position of an object, we find the integral of the velocity over a certain interval plus the initial position of x. And we plug in sine pi over 3t for the velocity, so it's the integral from 0 to 4 of sine pi divided by 3t plus 2, because that's the initial position. And we plug that into the calculator and find that the position at t equals 4 is 3.432. Alright, now we're on the first multiple choice question, and it says a particle moves in the xy plane so that any time its coordinates are x equals t squared minus 1 and y equals t to the 4th minus 2t cubed, and it asks us to find the acceleration vector at t equals 1. So acceleration is the second derivative of both x of t and y of t. So we have to find the second derivative of x of t and y of t. And x of t is equal to t squared minus 1. So the first derivative is 2t. And the second derivative of x of t is equal to 2. So then we plug in 1 for x double prime of t. And we find that it's equal to 2. And so we have to do the same thing for y, and so y is equal to t to the 4th minus 2t cubed, and so the first derivative of y is 4t cubed minus 6t squared, and the second derivative is 12t squared minus 12t, excuse me. And so we plug in 1 for t in y double prime and find that it is equal to 0. So the vector of the acceleration vector is 2, 0, which is equal to d. Alright, we're on the final multiple choice problem ever, and it says the position of a particle moving along a straight line at any time t is given by s of t is equal to t squared plus 4t plus 4, and it asks us to find the acceleration of the particle when t is equal to 4. So acceleration is equal to s double prime, so we define s double prime, and so s of t is equal to t squared plus 4t plus 4, so s prime of t is equal to 2t plus 4. And that means that s double prime of t is equal to 2. And so then we plug in 4 for t in s double prime to find the acceleration. And that is equal to 2, so s double prime of 4 is equal to 2. And so acceleration at t equals 4 is equal to 2, which is equal to B. Bye.